So this video is all about why it's important to bring your subjectivity into your individual interview. 1, 2.
Hey, being a robot.
The next question is...
You're full of questions.
By now, you might be getting your head round how big Q qualitative methods is much more than just analysing words. It's an approach that holds a very different set of assumptions compared to quantitative methods when it comes to data collection. It's a very different research paradigm. I go on about this, but it's true. It's really different. What it's doing is adopting a very different way of seeing the world and asking questions. In a recording I'm going to do for week 2, I'll talk about the three ologies. I've been threatening to do this, haven't I? The three ologies: ontology, epistemology, and methodology. For now, I want to talk to you a little bit more about this thing that's likely going to trip you up. It's the thing that most likely trips students up on this unit. It trips some students up every year. So in this recording, I'll do what I can to help you avoid falling flat on your face. And that thing that will trip you up is how you think about subjectivity.
This interview is over.
So let's start off by thinking first about storytelling. Now, you heard me refer to this in the previous recording. I told you my own little story about why big Q qualitative research is important to me. Stories are really powerful. They're a powerful way of communicating meaning, and qualitative research is well positioned to make full use of that power. Stories capture the colour and complexity of life that isn't easily captured by quantitative research. And those stories give us this high definition resolution picture of people's lives, like a 4K TV that makes everything pop on the screen with an almost lifelike quality. Quantitative research zooms in on just a small bit of that screen. It blows it up such that you lose all the resolution. So that's my way of thinking about the differences between quantitative and qualitative. There's many ways of thinking about it. That might not be the best way to think about it, but it's my way.
This interview is over.
Now, the sharing of stories can empower people, make people realise they're not alone in their lived experiences, and when those lived experiences are characterised by mistreatment and unfairness, it can help bring people together in social action to fight social justice. So, like storytelling, qualitative research is focused on the complexity of human experience, and that complexity is sometimes referred to as poly-dimensionality. That there are many dimensions to our lives, and our lives are multi-layered through from the social through to the cultural, to the political, to the historical. And it gives us this multi-layered way of looking at our lives. It gives us that chance of capturing all of the nuance, all of the chaos, all of the mess of our lives in a way that offers a coherent and authentic understanding of the human condition. And we call all of that complexity of our lives subjectivity. Our subjectivity is all about who we are, how we see the world, and that's based on the accumulation of our life experiences. It's what makes you who you are, and who you are determines how you make sense of the world. And in qualitative research, you're essentially trying to make sense of the world. Often that involves trying to make sense of how other people experience the world. And to make sense of anything, whether it be your life or the lives of others, you ultimately have to draw on your own experiences. What you've done, what you've heard, what you've seen, what you've read, and so on. That's the only way we can make sense of anything. But saying all that, why bother doing research? Why not just write down your own thoughts and forget about going out and listening to what other people think? Well, no, embracing subjectivity shouldn't lead you there. Our subjectivity, our beliefs, our values, our experiences, it comes from an interaction with other people. Culture is learned through interacting with others. We learn from others, and that's what feeds our ability to make sense of the world. So it's not an invitation to descend into solipsism, just seeing the world from your own standpoint. Rather, it means seeking to empathise with other people's lives, but to always acknowledge where you're coming from in all of this. It's about constructing knowledge authentically, with honesty and with transparency, by acknowledging where our conclusions are drawn from, why we interpret things in the way we do. And we see things in the way we do because of what we've learned from other people. And that needs to be made transparent. But bringing our subjectivity to our work also requires that we bring humility to our work, that we recognize that others may see things differently to us, and to fully understand, and why it's important to fully understand that. And why do people see things differently to us? But not to say they're wrong, that we're right, and that's where the humility comes in. Now, how do you engage subjectively with your interviewee?
This interview is over.
Well, you need to figure this out. This is your job to do. But I can tell you where to look, give you a few little clues. The first thing I think you should do is look at the marking criteria for the interview assessment and see if you can see where that space is created for you to embrace your subjective engagement with the research topic of the interview. And if you can't see it, go back into your quantitative headspace and see if any bit of the marking criteria makes you think, I shouldn't be doing that. That's wrong. And when you say, that can't be right, how am I supposed to maintain an objective stance? It's those moments where you start to worry that you're going to be too subjective. In week 2 and 3, just see how subjectivity sits behind what we're doing and what I'm asking you to do, particularly what I'm asking you to do in that interview. And watch out for falling back into that trap of thinking quantitatively. You might do this unintentionally. If you're doing it willfully, just to annoy me, that's fine. But you're probably doing it unintentionally. That when you go back to thinking of subjectivity as bias, as a bad thing that you should avoid, that's the trip hazard. That's the thing to look out for. That's the thing that could land you flat on your ass. On your face, sorry. Either way, you're going to trip up. Okay. So what we'll do next is go on to the ologies. And we'll do that in the next recording, which you should kind of watch in week 2, I reckon. So till next time, ta-ta.